else has a poof that you need to recover. I guess this is more like a beanbag, but it's a square beanbag. I'm getting ready to recover this in the most gorgeous fabric. It's like a rug. I was gifted this fabric from Fabric 5 and Dime, and I will link to the online fabric store in the description box below. They are a Boca Bargoons company. We used to have a Boca Bargoons here in Tampa. They turned into a closeout store, and everything in the store was $5 a yard. I got so many fabrics there. Anyway, then they just closed altogether. Then Fabric 5 and Dime reached out to me to see if I would partner with them. They gifted me this fabric. This is the gorgeous fabric I'm using to make this poof today. Let me bring you in close so you can see it, and we will get started on this project. Here it is up close, and you can see this gorgeous texture to this fabric. It's literally like a rug. It's just so pretty. This is the selvage edge, and it does have a backing on it, so it's perfect for upholstery. See, there's the backing. So let's get started. First step is to measure this thing. I'm going to use my soft tape measure. I'm going to measure seam to seam. There's a seam right here. I'm going to go right to it, kind of flatten it out. And I've got 23 inches. I'm going to add a ½ an inch to each measurement, so a full inch to this for my seam allowance. So 23, and I'm pretty sure this is square, but yep, 23 by 23. Then this is 13 and a half. Those are my cut dimensions. So let's get cutting. All right, so let's set that aside. All right, so I'm gonna square this off. Okay, I'm just going to show you something real quick, because I originally cut this what I thought was square, and the way I did it is I lined up the selvage edge with the line on my cutting mat. But then when I stood back and looked at it, I could see that definite directional weft threads that I could see clearly. When I stood back and looked across the piece, I could tell that it was not cut square, selvage to selvage. I went ahead and just cut right along one of the warp threads. I just followed one of these warp threads all the way across. Now that I've got my fabric cut square, a small insignificant thing, but it's something that I wouldn't be able to unsee if I had put this together and my grain of my fabric was a little bit askew. It would bother me. So if you want to look at the video that I did on cutting fabric straight, square, and on grain, I explain it all. You can click on that video right here. 24 by 24, I need 2 of those. And this is 54, so I can get 2. Okay, got all my pieces cut. So these are the side pieces. So first thing I'm going to do is sew them all together so that it's in a long strip, and then I'll sew them to one of the top or bottom pieces. Let's do that. So I've got my 4 pieces here. All right. And I've got a heavyweight thread, a Tech 70 thread on there, or an upholstery weight thread is what you want. See how that looks. All right, looks great. Okay, next up. Now I've got all 4 of the side pieces sewn together. So now I'm going to take it back to my cutting table, and I'm going to pin this on to one of the top or bottom pieces. Okay, now coming to this corner, what I'll probably do at the machine is I might open up that seam a little bit so that it'll come around this corner a little bit better. But what I'm going to do right now is just kind of rotate it around and see how I have that seam folded over like that. Meet those edges up and pin here. I'm gonna move this piece out of the way. So I can pin this down. And now, these two corners will be pinned together. Does that make sense? This is just like this corner here and here. And this is a box essentially, and this is meeting back up. See what I mean? Had I sewn that together at the sewing machine the first time around, I wouldn't have to pin that or sew that. Yeah, I could have just pinned that all on as a box. I'm going to take this back to the sewing machine, and the first seam I'm going to sew is this one here. Then that means that all 4 corners will be sewn, and then I'll go around and attach all these side pieces to the bottom piece. I'm sewing up that side piece first. Now I just need to sew these 4 pieces to the bottom. All right. This fabric is so thick. Okay, there we go. Again, I didn't drop my foot because it's so darn thick. I just forgot. Darn it. All right, I might as well rewind my bobbin thread while I have it out. Okay, now that I got my bobbin rewound, let's get this back in here and make sure that I actually dropped my presser foot. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see how I'm going to do this corner. We're approaching the corner. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up this seam the best I can and bring it directly to the corner of this. So that's like that. And open that up, and I'm going to sew right over it. Okay. This is where a little pressing tool will be helpful in order to get this to go over the thick seam. I'm going to give it one more stitch, drop my needle in, lift up the presser foot, which doesn't really make a difference, it's so darn thick. Rotate this fabric. I'm going to flip this over to the other side and just push this down. Don't forget to drop your presser foot back down and continue to sew. There we go. Coming to this corner, I'm going to do the same thing here. Okie dokie, did it. I got around this thing and I only broke 1 needle. That's a win. I'm going to take out all these pins and turn this baby inside out and have a look at it and see how these seams look on this thick, thick fabric. Looking good. Looks good. Now I gotta figure out the zipper situation. I'm not sure if I just put a 23-inch zipper in on one side. I'm not sure I'll be able to stuff that whole thing in. I think I'll try it. So I've got my zipper cut. I went ahead and cut this one to exactly 23 inches, so it's just short of one side. I'm gonna go ahead and install this zipper onto one side, and then I'll add the top on. Then I'll open up the zipper, and then I'll sew the other 3 sides like this. So we're gonna sew it on just like this, so that way when we put the other side on this, then just the zipper teeth will show. Open this up and we'll stitch right here. Time for a zipper foot. Make sure you move your needle over to the side so you don't break it. And I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. I didn't sew the zipper together. First, I've got to sew the zipper. So I've got to zigzag stitch across here and then zigzag stitch across one side to keep the pole from just flying off the end. Got my zipper opened up and I'm going to sew close to the zipper teeth, making sure I don't hit. Okay, and I'm getting close to the end, and rather than trying to go around the zipper pole, I'm going to close this so that I can get right next to the zipper teeth. So now I'm going to close this up and grab the top of this, line it up with this square, and I'm going to actually pin this to the other side of the zipper because I just want to make sure that my top square doesn't shift one way or another on my zipper. I'm going to put a couple pins in here and then I'm going to open this up. Okay, that'll make it easier, pin it, and easier to sew it. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over and we're going to sew this side of the zipper. So the zipper is installed. I'm going to close the zipper halfway so that I can sew the rest of the top on. Okay, this thing is heavy. We can sew the rest of this together. So I am going to go ahead and pin this on. It'll just keep things lined up nicely so that I can make sure that my corners get lined up. And as you're pinning, put your pins on the side where your seams are coming down and not on this side because you want to sew on this side so that you can sew over this seam. You don't want to have that on the bottom. You want to have this nice flat side on the bottom. So I've got it all pinned on and I'm coming back around, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sew right here. That'll be right behind the zipper. So when the zipper is zipped up, I'm going to sew up to about right here. That will just enclose this little bit of stitching right here, will enclose the end of the zipper there, and that will give this a nice finished corner. And make sure when you start sewing that you have part of your zipper open so that you can get in here and open it all the way up and then turn it. And I'm leaving my zipper foot on here so that I can get right up behind the zipper. I got the whole thing sewn, and I'm going to trim off any hanging threads and just double check that I've gotten all the pins out. I'm still absolutely obsessed with this fabric. I cannot wait to see how it looks on this thing. The question is, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that in here. I didn't really think through it, I just did it. I might have to stitch it up and not make it zippered. No. Because it's not like it's feathers where it'll squish down. Nope. Darn. I'm going to have to open this up. And then I'll have to just ladder stitch it closed. Close it by hand. This thread you can't just rip. It's too thick. It's made to not come out. So now I've got this opened up on two sides. I should be able to get this in here now. Huh, amazing. It's actually too big. I don't like that. Now I'm gonna have to sew this side back up. I want this to fit tighter. So what I'm gonna have to do now is just take it back out and I'll make all these seams a little bit tighter. Either that or I could stuff it more. I wonder how it would be if I put another pillow in there. This is a 24 by 24 feather pillow. Maybe if I put one of these on the bottom and one at the top, that would make it perfect. Because, you know, maybe I should just make the zipper go around the bend. I like that better because it's not all beanbag. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put another 24 by 24 on the bottom. I think I'm going to stitch the corner of this to the corner of this so that it'll stay. I think I will. Yes, yes, yes. Come see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the corner of the pillow. Here's the corner of that, and I'm going to stitch it together because I don't want this feather pillow to ever get bunched up. I'll do that on all four corners, keep that there. Yay, I'm excited. Here she is all complete with the feather pillow on the top. And let me show you the zipper. Okay, so there's the zipper right there. I wish it was beige, but either way, it doesn't matter. And then this is the side that I did the ladder stitch on. Poof out your corner there. So it's great. So that's it. It's all done and I love it. It's just perfect. It's great right here. We can put our feet up when we're sitting on the couch, and it's even better for sitting here and playing Scrabble.